Get that water out of the goddamn huddle. I tell you when you get a fucking water break.
Welcome to the Buccaneers Observer Podcast. This is Ralph Phillips.
I'm Molly Bay.
Today is August 27th, 2019. We think 12 days to kick off. We're sitting here trying to do the math. Can't quite get it right.
It's soon.
Well, 12 days will be September 8th.
All right, let's go with that then. Sounds good to me.
Yeah, it'll work. Anyhow, September 8th, that's kickoff. A few more days. Fact check, follow-ups. Follow-up, we're going to talk about the practice squad a little bit. Bruce Arians had said in his last press conference that Game 4 is going to be really about finding practice squad players. He said there's 10 spots available. That's how many people are on the practice squad. Now,
Oh, is that what he meant?
I'm pretty sure. Everybody else took it as there's 10 roster spots available, but no.
Yeah.
It's got to be the 10 practice squad players.
Interesting. So he knows the roster already?
He said
so.
that weeks ago.
Yeah.
He was like, I've got the guys already. I can cut everybody I need to cut now.
Right.
But the practice squad includes 10 players. That's additional to the 53 rostered players. The minimum salary is $7,600
Okay.
a week, which totals to $129,200 for all 17 weeks of the regular season. Now, what brought all this up is Molly had asked if other teams could just take players from the practice squad. I said yes. Now, there is no maximum practice squad salary, so theoretically, you could pay these guys $100 million a game if you want to. If you had a friend you wanted to give a lot of money to, just put them on the practice squad, pay them $20 million a year.
That probably doesn't count towards the cap either.
It does not count towards the cap at all.
Okay.
Now, practice squad players are paid per week and can be released at any point during the season, and they are free to sign with other NFL teams, assuming they're assigned to the 53-man active roster. So you can't sign a guy from one team's practice squad and put him on your practice squad.
Okay.
Unless he's first released by the other team. Now, a practice squad player cannot sign with their team's upcoming opponent unless they do so 6 days before the upcoming game or 10 days if their team is currently on a bye week. It's amazing all the rules in the NFL.
Well, so then that prevents you from just picking a guy up from your upcoming opponent, using information, and then releasing him.
I would assume that would be... it's probably a good idea they have that rule in there because that's exactly what would happen.
Exactly.
Guys would be thinking, hey, I'm getting picked up by this team to be a starter on the 53-man roster, and you are for a week, and then they cut you.
Yeah, you're a spy.
And then, like you had asked, in order for a player to be signed to the practice squad after being released, a player must first clear through waivers.
Gotcha.
So there's that. Practice Squad 101.
All right, I like it.
Right here.
Some good information.
There's probably a lot more to it.
I'm sure all the different positions and the contracts and all that is, I'm sure, just a league of its own.
Wasn't that a movie?
A League of Their Own?
Yeah.
I think so. Was that the baseball movie with Tom Hanks? With the women?
Might have been. Funny movie. Not as good as football movies, though. Football movies are the best. We used to have a list of football movies that we try to watch every year before the season started. You know, we said we were going to do it. I don't know if we ever did. But I used to always watch Any Given Sunday to get boosted up for the season. Now, when I grew up, North Dallas 40 was the football movie. And if you watch North Dallas 40 and then you watch Any Given Sunday, and Any Given Sunday is, 20 years old now? Mm-hmm. The league's
Probably
changed
older than that.
The league's changed since then. But to see the difference in how football and football players were perceived in North Dallas 40 and seeing how they were perceived in Any Given Sunday, it's mind-blowing. Totally different. Because when I grew up, football players didn't make a lot of money. There wasn't really any free agency. You know, you got on a team, you were stuck on that team until they were ready to cut you. And it was really a lot of, you play injured. Everybody's hurt, everybody's injured, and it was really about showing how tough you were. And also, the markets were not near as big. I mean, the NFL was a relatively big sport, but, you didn't have these lucrative TV contracts and all the sponsorships and all that mess. So it wasn't marketed the same way. Now it's just so much different, If you ever get a chance, if you've never watched North Dallas 40, go watch that, and you can see what football was like back in the 70s, how the players were and acted and how they were perceived.
It was a lot different. I can remember like a party scene, I think. I don't remember a lot of it.
Yeah, it seems like all football movies have to have a party scene.
Party scene.
I don't know what that's all about. It's perception.
It's a part of the game, I guess.
Yeah, NFL players are big partiers is what people like to think. But what are some other good, that's something I want to throw out there to all of my listeners. If you know of a good football movie, especially an obscure one, let us know, because I love watching football movies. Remember the Titans. That's a really good one. I like that one, too.
Yeah, I like that one, too.
One of my all-time favorites that's kind of obscure is Everybody's All-American with Dennis Quaid. Really good football movie, especially what happens to players after they retire. I thought that was really impactful.
Did we watch that one, too? I think we watched that one.
Oh, yeah. I was like, you have to see this movie.
Yeah, because I was thinking, I remember the end of that. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking that was North Dallas 40, but I don't think it.
No, North Dallas 40 was not a feel-good movie.
Okay. Everybody's All-American came out the year I was born.
Youngin'.
Whippersnapper.
Heaven Can Wait was kind of a big one when I was a kid.
Gosh, these are old ones.
There were a lot more football movies up until about the 2000s. It seemed like around the 2000s is when football...
Yeah, I think they didn't want to glorify it because of all the injuries and CTE. It's kind of become a... they're just not pushing it the way that they used to.
No. There's Invincible with Mark Wahlberg. That's the one we talked about on the podcast where he's the walk-on from the streets. Philadelphia Eagles decided to hire a player.
Oh, right. I remember.
Basically from the streets. Jerry Maguire. That
Show
one.
me the money.
Yep. Classic lines. Necessary Roughness. That was a funny one. You know, I've never seen The Blind Side, the movie with Sandra Bullock.
Are you sure? I thought we watched it.
Nope, never watched it.
Huh.
It's weird. I don't know why. I just never got around to watching it.
It was too feel good. You like a little complexity in your movies.
I guess, but you know, that's me prejudging it.
Yeah.
Sandra Bullock's good. I like her. And it was about the true story. The guy was an offensive lineman, I think. He was still in the league when this movie came out.
Yeah. Didn't he say it was a little exaggerated, like it didn't really happen like that?
Something like that.
But that's what always happens with these based on a true story.
They exaggerate the heck out of them.
Expect it.
I watched that movie the other night, Tag, a comedy with Jeremy Renner, Ed Helms, and the guy from Mad Men.
John Hamm.
Cute movie, but I didn't know until the end that it was based on a true story. I was like, wow, check that out. But of course, a lot of it was embellished.
Yeah, of course.
It had to have been. Let me see. Last Boy Scout. That was a good football movie. It was real intense at the beginning when that guy pulled a gun out on the field. You've never seen that one. We had talked about that. Mm-hmm. The Longest Yard. The first one.
That's the second one.
Yeah, the first one with with Burt Reynolds.
Yeah. Well, Burt Reynolds is in the second one, too.
Yes.
Makes an appearance.
Makes a cameo.
The Replacements. I like that one.
That was a cute one, too. The Water Boy. That was cute. Adam Sandler. You never seen that one?
Mm-mm. Varsity Blues. I like that one.
Yes, and Friday Night Lights, and We Are Marshall. And there was Wildcats. That was in late 80s. And Goldie Hawn, Woody Harrelson, Wesley Snipes. Film debut of Wesley Snipes. I think Woody Harrelson, too. Not enough football movies out now. Well, there was The Game Plan. That was in 2007. The Comebacks, Bradley Cooper. That was in 2007. The Blind Side was 2009.
So since about 2010, there hasn't been one.
Leatherheads with George Clooney, Renee Zellweger. That was 2008. Yeah.
Oh, I like that one.
So it's been a decade of no football movies. And I bet you're right. I bet it's because they're trying to avoid the controversy or the image. I don't know. Hollywood just doesn't want to push football anymore, I guess.
No, I don't think so.
Then again, Hollywood's not Hollywood anymore. Hollywood is very diverse. Used to, everything came out of Hollywood, but now you've got Netflix and Amazon and Hulu. I mean, these people are making movies all over the world now. Hollywood doesn't have that strict control.
I wonder if it's the NFL has clamped down on it, because they've got NFL films where they're very protective. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So maybe it has something to do with that. I don't know.
I know a lot of these films, like Any Given Sunday, for example, they had made up teams because the NFL is very picky about who they licensed their player logos and stuff to, what movies they'll allow it. Mm-hmm. They're very strict with what you present and everything. Don't know. Interesting, though. It's been over a decade since there's been a football movie.
They had the show Ballers on HBO with Dwayne Johnson.
Good. We watched the first couple seasons of that and then just fell off. It's impossible to keep up with all the shows anymore. I can't watch enough TV. You would have to spend all day, every day, watching TV just to keep up with all the shows. So what we've done is we've just picked a certain few and then...
That's it.
That's it.
Well, I liked the show, but it just wasn't really... Didn't keep drawing you in. Like, it wasn't that compelling. It was entertaining, but just not interesting enough for me to want to come back to it. Put in all the effort. of like laying there and watching it.
Kind of reminds me all the effort
So
of
much
laying in
effort.
bed watching TV. It kind of reminds me of, there was an old show on, I think it was HBO, where Rip Torn was on, about football agents or sports agents. Great show. Man, what was the name of that? Now, I had it totally wrong. I was thinking of Gary Shandling's show, but it was Arliss. And it was on from 1996 to 2002, starred Robert Wool, and that was baseball. But it was just a general sports agent, and it was on HBO. So got that part right in here. But anyhow, it reminds me of that kind of, it's the show about sports agents.
Yeah.
Which sports agents are very powerful. There's a lot of stuff going on with that right now. We'll get to that in a minute. Anyhow, let's get back to the podcast.
Okay.
Enough with the movie stuff. Follow up, another one. Donovan McNabb had signed a 12-year, $115 million contract with the Eagles in 2002. We had asked what was the longest NFL contract.
Okay.
12 years, Donovan McNabb.
Huh.
This was right after Drew Bledsoe had signed with the Patriots in 2001 for 10 years and $103 million.
Wow. Now those numbers, 103 million, 115 million, that's over 5 years usually.
Mm-hmm. That was almost 20 years ago.
But they didn't keep Drew Bledsoe, obviously, for
No,
that long.
that's the year he got injured. So he only was there for a year.
How much of it was guaranteed, I wonder? Did they have to keep paying him?
$30 million was guaranteed. So he got $30 million out of it. Can't be mad about that.
Nope, not at all. We've got some Bucs news this week. The JPP was spotted at practice today. Not practicing. He was dressed, not in pads, but he had a jersey on and was watching practice. And apparently today he was cleared by the club and independent doctors to resume rehab activities, whatever that means.
He was spotted on the sidelines the game Friday night.
Oh, he was?
Mm-hmm.
Did you notice him during the game?
I did not. I heard about it later.
I didn't either. That's cool, though.
Yeah, it's good to see he's with the team,
Yeah.
especially traveling with them. Or
No, that was a home game.
well, especially.
So I wonder if he'll be at Dallas. Probably not, but we'll see. He didn't have a neck brace on.
No, that was probably more precautionary than anything.
Right. They say he's just a freak healer. I believe it. You come back from like a half amputated hand and you're still able to play and excel.
That thing's got to hurt.
Probably. Yeah.
And every time he gets that hand hit, I would imagine it's quite painful.
Yeah. But that's what he said last year. He plays through pain all the time.
I do too, when I'm playing my video games. I get the carpal tunnel syndrome.
Carpal tunnel.
Whatever happened to carpal tunnel? That was so funny.
It's gone.
It's gone. It was a huge thing in like the late 90s, early 2000s, because everybody started working on keyboards. That was the big scare. Carpal tunnel syndrome is going to infect the world. You don't hear about that at all now.
I had it for a little while where I would like sleep and curl my wrists in. And I'd sleep like that and have the like blanket bunched up. And then during the day, my hands would kind of go numb sometimes. But I just stopped sleeping like that. Like I would do them kind of like I'm praying and then under my head. And so I didn't get it anymore. Stop looking at me like that.
That's got to be the weirdest carpal tunnel syndrome story I've ever heard. But it fits you. I got injured sleeping.
I got a sleeping injury. Oh, I have something later that you're going to be like, yeah, that's you, Molly. We'll get to it. Also returning to practice this week was Mike Evans.
Woohoo!
Defensive lineman Jeremiah Ledbetter, who you liked earlier in the preseason.
Yes.
And then outside linebacker Anthony Nelson, which I'm like, who?
He's played a bit, not a whole lot.
He was one of our draft picks.
He hasn't
I
been
think.
too bad.
Right. So that's a strong position with the Bucs. We've got some
True.
good ones. That's it for Bucs news. You got any more? No. Some former Bucs have signed with other teams. Defensive tackle Clinton McDonald, your boy, signed with Arizona.
Arizona. Is that the new place where players' careers go to die?
I don't know. Maybe it's like a step up from Oakland.
Now that the Browns are kind of up on the upswing?
Yeah. Browns are on the upswing, so it's not there necessarily.
Clinton McDonald did not get near the praiseworthiness he should have gotten while he was here. And that was due mainly to other people on the defensive line that absorbed all the credit for everything.
None of the blame.
None of the blame, ever.
Another former Buccaneer, Dakota Watson, linebacker, I think. What was he?
Yes.
Linebacker. Released by the Broncos.
Wow, all of our former linebackers are getting released, too.
Yeah, Mason Foster, too.
He didn't get picked up by anybody?
I don't recall.
That really doesn't surprise me too much, but
I thought we liked him when he was with the
he
team.
was okay. I thought he played a little stiff. Akeem Spence, our old defensive tackle, he was released by the Dolphins today.
I saw that one. I'm surprised we haven't done any cuts yet. I think Saturday.
Saturday at 4 p.m. is the deadline, but we'll start cutting people Friday.
Friday, yeah.
And then Donald Penn. You know, he had visited the Redskins. We had talked about that on the podcast a while back, and then he signed with them. It appears he's going to be their starter. Left tackle? Yep.
For Trent Williams?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
That is what Jay Gruden has said. That's crazy. It is, and that's one thing. Lovie Smith does not get the infamy that he should for blowing up our offensive line. You know, I've been saying this ever since the day it happened, basically. But on the podcast, you know, it's just a huge thing of mine that I've never seen a coach do that before, ever. And we are still to this day dealing with those consequences.
Every time I see Donovan Smith on his ass, I'm reminded of Lovie's poor decision making.
Donald Penn is still in the league and still playing well. Still playing better than Donovan Smith, that's for sure. You know, he was injured last year, Donald Penn was, but we'll see how it goes from here on out. It's just craziness that we're just still dealing with the aftermath of that idiotic decision. It's the weakest part of our team right now.
Absolutely.
It has been for a long time. Well, ever since then. What was that, 2014?
Yeah.
2014, so it's been 5 years we've been dealing with this.
In 5 years, you can't build an offensive line.
They've been trying. It's easier said than done, I think.
Apparently so.
Apparently. But good for Donald Penn. I always liked him.
I did too.
An interesting character. And he was a great left tackle. What was it I used to call him? Piston? The way he would do his arms, he'd keep them at his chest until you got near him, and then he'd just slam those things out and hit guys. Man, he'd take people off his feet with that move. I loved it. Did you know this is some enemy information here? Graham Gano is having problems at Carolina. He's injured, and they don't think he's going to...
Their kicker?
Yeah, make it for the first week.
I think he struggled last year.
Yes, he had a rough time last year. Went to the Pro Bowl the year before it.
I think all the kickers did with all the rule changes that they've made.
Something is happening.
Yeah, something's weird happening. I would say we got an extra kicker, but fuck them. I don't want to send anybody there.
No.
There's a lot of teams actually looking for a kicker, so I wouldn't be surprised if we use Cairo as trade bait or something. I don't know.
Can you even do that? I mean, what would you trade for a kicker? People aren't going to trade a whole lot. Because they know you're not going to keep two kickers on the roster.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, you could.
But if you really need one and you want him because he's a known commodity, because there's a lot of teams that are struggling with kickers, and if you want to make sure that's your guy, that's who you want to get, maybe you do give some of that up.
You know that idiot from Tampa Bay Times, Tom Bassender?
Yeah.
He's always talking about how kickers are just not that important.
Right.
I mean, does he watch football? I don't think he does. Matter of fact, I don't think anybody there at the Tampa Bay Times watches football. I mean, there's no way you can say that a kicker is not important with so many games that come down to a last-minute field goal.
Absolutely. Look at Cody Parkey for the Bears.
Yeah. Who is now unemployed.
Unemployed because he killed their playoff run.
Yes, you have to have a kicker that can kick when you need the points. And they're few and far between. And
look at our season last year. The kicking struggles cost us games at times.
Our kicking struggles it's the Matt Bryant curse.
Yeah.
We had Nugent there that did good for a while, but we just can't seem to find a consistent kicker. Hopefully Matt Gay. I like the guy. I mean, his balls shoot straight, and he's got that little shimmy.
You like the shimmy.
I like the shimmy.
If you haven't watched Ralph's YouTube video on the Browns game, you need to check it out because he's got some clips of Matt Gay shimmy. He's got to make a sound effect, and he does a little shimmy like every time we're watching the game.
It is weird. Now that you pointed that out, I think about it every time I do it. I'm like, why am I doing the shimmy too?
You can't help yourself.
And it's just a little slight one. It's not like he's doing this big thing, but it's just a little whoop.
A little shake on the shoulders.
Yeah. But he does it every single time, and you can tell that's his thing.
It's like pitchers who have their routine. I think baseball is...
Yeah, baseball's very bad for it. Sports people they're very... Superstitious about their routines. Falcons are trying to get an extension with Julio Jones done before the season starts. Arthur Blank said he really wants to get this done. They're just trying to lock him up forever. You know, they want him to retire a Falcon, just like we want Mike Evans to retire a Buccaneer. Let's get that bandwagon rolling here. Start talking about it now. So in 5 years, when it comes up, when's his contract up? Is it 4 years?
I don't know.
2023. So that's
the last year of the contract.
That's 5 years, man.
Okay.
So 2024 is when he'll be eligible for free agency. So let's just keep doing extensions just like they do with Julio Jones and keep him here forever until he retires.
Sounds good to me.
That's the plan, guys. But they're trying to get Julio Jones an extension to meet Michael Thomas's contract. They want to beat his contract.
I wonder if it has to do with the start of the season, too, because Dallas has some contract issues going on. And one of them, they're talking about if they're going to release him, they have to do it before week 1 when all of his money becomes guaranteed. So
Who is that?
We'll talk about it. One of their defensive linemen. But anyway, so I don't know if the start of the season is kind of a deadline as far as that goes. They can extend it midway through the season, right?
They can, yeah.
Sometimes do. Okay.
Yeah, well, they're not trying to get it's not a holdout situation or anything.
Right, he's there.
Yeah, they're just wanting to extend him so that they can keep him there for longer.
And it won't be a distraction going into the season. Can't blame them there.
No, they should just go ahead and sign over rights to the stadium and the team name and everything to Julio Jones.
It's a good idea. The Dallas Cowboys are not quite as fortunate.
That's who we're playing Thursday night.
That's who we're playing Thursday.
Now, this game, don't expect to see any starters from either side.
Yeah.
You might see Noah Spence out there, though.
Oh, my God.
I know. If he's out there, that's a huge, huge issue. That's really saying he's probably not going to make the roster, or he's definitely not going to be a starter. So I'm anxious to look at that. But I'm really excited about this game to see these guys fight for this practice squad jobs and, put some good film on tape. I want to see David Kenny. I want to see Mazzy Wilkins. Some of these guys who might not make the team, but they're pretty decent players. They're going to be out there fighting. So I love the 4th preseason game just for that.
You're so weird.
I know. I do, because you get to see it's like watching college football, but these guys are fighting to make this not the last game they will ever play football again.
And that is so sad and depressing.
Sad. Yeah. I mean, it's about 1,000 guys are going to get cut, and most of them will never play football again, even though they played probably through pee-wee football and junior high and high school and college. They put just as much time into football as a doctor does into learning medicine, and now they'll never do it again after Friday. It's crazy. Some of them will go to like the CFL and XFL.
Yeah, now that that's coming up. Well, Ezekiel Elliott is holding out.
He's still holding out.
Still holding out.
I had heard that they had reached a deal, or Jerry Jones said that they had reached a deal today. You didn't hear that?
No.
Okay. Maybe I just read a headline, so.
Well, I looked early this morning, but it hasn't been all over Twitter, so I think it's Jerry Jones might have said that. They might have agreed to terms. So the whole disconnect was that he wants to surpass Todd Gurley's $60 million contract.
Ezekiel Elliott?
He wants to beat Todd Gurley. So is that the thing now where they're just competing for each other's salaries to get the biggest contract? Because you kind of see it with Dak Prescott, too. He wants like $40 million a year. And Russell Wilson just signed this giant contract for $35 million. So now Dak Prescott is reportedly asking for $40 million and turned down $30 million from the team. So I don't know, is that a thing now where the players are just competing with each other to make the most money?
It's salary competition.
Yeah, no kidding. Because he wants more than what Le'Veon Bell got.
Who? Ezekiel?
Ezekiel. The Cowboys offered him like $13 million a year or something, and he balked at it because he wants more than what Todd Gurley got, which is like $14 million a year. Like, really, you're fighting over $14 million? But his thing is the guaranteed money. Gurley got $45 million in guaranteed, whereas
good Lord,
Le'Veon Bell only got $27 million guaranteed. So that's where the Cowboys and Ezekiel differ.
Interesting. It's the dumbest thing in the world for any Cowboys running back to make a stink about their salary or anything, because you could easily be replaced. I mean, Ezekiel Elliott, if you put him on the Tennessee Titans or the Jets or the Raiders, he is not going to be good.
Yeah, who was the guy that came before him? DeMarcus Murray?
DeMarcus Murray.
Where is he?
He went to Tennessee.
A backup somewhere probably at this point.
Right. I mean, it's the Dallas offensive line that makes the quarterbacks and the running backs there great.
I think it's the same thing with Dak Prescott.
Yes.
Although I will concede he's only earning $2 million this year. He's in the final year of his rookie contract. So I can get why he's a little irritated. The backup running back is probably making more than him.
So I can understand that. But so he's on the last year. Is this his 5th year?
Yeah.
So they picked up his option, and now he's wanting more? Is he holding out?
No, he's appearing. He showed up for the team. He's there for preseason.
I didn't think you could do that. Maybe on the 5th year, on the option contract, you can do that. But I know on the rookie contracts, you can't do that. You can't ask for more money. You can't do all the holdouts and stuff. Because
Right, he's not doing that.
Right, okay.
He's not holding out.
All right.
He could be franchise tagged next year in 2020, but that would earn him $34 million. So I guess that's what we're looking at with Jameis, too. We'll give him a contract, I think, but...
It all depends. You never know.
Right, somewhat... Oh, it was Tom Bassinger. So, the way that he phrased it, this is what he does. He's just a sneaky little devil. He goes, now the rumors or the speculation's going to start about Bruce Arians bringing in Andrew Luck in 2020. Yeah.
Oh, man.
And I'm like, no one was talking about that. You just talked about that. No one even said that or was
It never
thinking
even
that.
dawned on me.
Me neither. But it did to Tom enough to say, you all are going to start thinking about it. Well, we're starting to think about it because you said it. I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't either. If you watch that press conference that he did when he retired, I watched the whole damn thing. It was 26 minutes long, somewhere in that area. 15 minutes of it, that's no exaggeration, 15 minutes of it was him thanking people. He thanked everybody from his mom to Jesus to the owners to... It was nuts. I mean, he was thanking people I'd never even heard of and his friends. It was like a award speech for 15 minutes. But you could definitely tell he was just like, I'm done with this. I am done. I'm tired of being hurt. And he made no bones about it. He was like, look, it's been 4 years of me getting injured, mending, and then going through rehab. 4 years. He says, I haven't had a break in 4 years. He says, I'm just tired of it. I'm done. I don't think he's ever coming back.
Interesting.
He's totally lost the joy of football.
I don't blame him. I get it.
But
I think it's bad timing.
It's an interesting...
And you're quitting on your team.
Oh, yeah. No, I would be furious if I was a Colts fan.
I agree.
Furious.
I think so, too.
When you're going to do that mess, do that at the beginning of training camp.
Exactly. Or...
in February.
January, February. Yeah, exactly.
I can understand where he would if he's not sure or during training camp, he starts to get it. Feeling bad or whatever. But, man, you can't wait until a week before regular season.
But to be fair to him, I think the injury didn't occur until training camp. The last injury, I think he was having a calf or an ankle ailment. And he was just like, I'm done. That's it.
It's an interesting thought, though, and I hate to give Bassinger credit for it, but it never even dawned on me that, Luck and B.A. have history together. B.A. was his quarterback's coach or offensive coordinator at Indianapolis. And he actually was he there for the draft?
Yeah. With
Luck? Okay. So they've got a real good connection. He talks about Luck a lot in his book. So that's interesting. I mean, if Winston doesn't perform well, I wonder if B.A. will go to Luck and be like, hey, buddy. But, hey, that's not going to happen. Jameis Winston's going to play lights out this year. Much better than he did in that preseason game Friday night. Which he didn't turn the ball over.
No. That's right.
But, man, those happy feet of his, I thought for sure they were going to get that under control. And hopefully they did. Hopefully they chewed him out or whatever they do, where they get it in his head. Stop getting happy feet. Only run when you know you're going to be able to get good yardage or you have no other option. Don't run because you're scared.
I can't blame him behind that freaking line, though.
But he's got to learn to maneuver around in that pocket. And you look at, I was going to say Tom Brady, but, he is an exception. And he does have a great offensive line. But even when his line breaks down, he just fluidly moves around in the pocket. And even Jameis Winston, if he could run outside the pocket and stand there, that'd be fine. But there's a couple times in that game Friday night where he was literally running in circles with nobody chasing him. I've got to play on the video, the YouTube video, where I break down some stuff from the game where he literally is there. There's got a clean pocket. And he just freaks out. Turns to run one way and then turns around and runs the other way. It's just for no reason. Nobody was chasing him. Very strange. Skittish. But he gets that away if he gets hit early in games.
Yeah, we were talking about that the other night, that maybe that's how you beat him, is to get to him early. It's kind of the same thing with Cam Newton.
Yes.
If you get him flustered real early, game over.
Yes.
You got him.
Cam Newton cannot control his emotions. And I think it's got to do with all the estrogen going around in his body. He just likes to dress up too much.
All the soy milk.
all the soy milk. He can't control his emotions. He likes to shop.
Saw a picture of him the other day with like a scarf. He looked like a little Polish granny, a scarf tied over his hair, with his stupid spiky hair sticking out.
What is up with that hair?
I don't know what he's doing with his hair.
He was on the sidelines at the preseason game last week. He had a hat on with the top cut out of it, and his spiky hair sticking out like a volcano or something. It was just really weird.
He reminds me of a cartoon character.
Yes, very much so. So Dak Prescott, he's wanting a new contract. What else we got for Dallas?
Their star cornerback, Byron Jones, was just activated from the PUP list, had surgery on his hip over the offseason, but he's not going to play Thursday night.
No, we're not going to see any other stars.
No.
Too.
But he should be ready for them for week 1, so that was just some exciting news for their fan base. Last week, I talked about the Browns' position battle at linebacker. The Cowboys have a position battle at defensive line, and their problem here, this is per an article on Inside the Star, and it's by Jess Haney. Their problem is they have too many good players on the defensive line that they're going to end up cutting good players just because they don't have the roster spots for them.
That's how we got.
I'm like, that's a good problem to have.
That's how we got Carl Nassib last year.
Yeah.
Cleveland they just had too many players on their line that were good, and they had to cut him.
Yeah.
And luckily, we were high up in the waiver list, and we're able to snag him. I think we're 5th on the waiver list right now.
I hope we get an offensive lineman. The Sage, Ira Kaufman, tweeted that help is on the way or something like that.
That's got to be
for the offensive line.
What did he give any more information than that?
No. Mm-mm. It was in response to a Joe Bucks fan tweet about something else, and then somebody asked offensive lineman, and Sage said help is on the way. So we shall see.
Interesting. Now I'm going to say this: I don't think our offensive line is near as bad as everybody's making it out to be. I mean, you've got.
It's just so glaring when you see, and it's not just Donovan, it's others that are on their ass. And it's, during the game, during the broadcast, you just see it right there. You see Jameis Winston dropping back, trying to make a pass, and then you see an offensive lineman sitting down beside him. Like, that's
or sitting on top of it.
And sitting on top of him, sitting there watching him get hit.
But everybody bitches about their offensive lines. It's just what happens. Anytime there's a bad play or something like that, you can always point at the offensive line. It's kind of like a general manager. Everybody bitches about their general manager, too. I would say we're average right now. Last year we were below average, but I'd say we're average right now. We had some screw-ups last week, but again, we were going up against a really good defensive line. They were playing their starters, and, those guys are really good. Unfortunately, we didn't really have a weak link in the offensive line. Everybody screwed up, except really Jensen and Marpet. They had a couple screw-ups apiece, so that turned out to be like 6 plays, which is a lot.
Yeah.
It just seems worse than it was.
I just hope that they get into a rhythm once the season starts. I don't know. I just feel like we're running out of time.
I think they're going to be okay. I think they're going to be fine. I mean, they're not going to be top 10.
Okay, but what is it then? Like, what's their problem? Is it just the caliber of their opponent, or they weren't trying that hard because it's preseason, or was it the scheme, or...
Well, with last week, I would definitely say it was the caliber of the opponent. Donovan Smith played like he always does. DeMar Dotson surprised me in how he got beat.
But he's not getting the reps, I think, in camp and the other preseason game. Because he's old, they don't want him getting hurt.
Well, he needs to be playing besides Kappa as much as possible. Those two really have to work together. And Kappa just got beat. He got beat on a couple technical moves, and then he got beat by strength one time. So, it's not like he's out there pulling a Beninock last year. He was working. He had some good plays. So I'm not worried about the offensive line. I mean, they're going to screw up. Like I said, they're not top 10, but they'll be serviceable. As of right now, they are the weakest link on the team, though. But it's one position group is always going to be the weakest link. And if our weakest link is average, that's a good sign. And I think they're an average offensive line. Maybe even just a little bit above average.
You're going crazy now.
A little bit. I'm talking about... We're like talking
just a smidge.
16th.
Like they're 51%.
Right.
The 51st percentile.
Right. If you say 16th is an average offensive line, if you rank 16th in the league, that's average. Yeah. I would give them 15th.
Okay.
Seriously. I mean, they're not bad. They got some issues. Donovan Smith. But I think they're going to do well. They're going to do good enough.
Good enough.
They're not going to be as bad as they were last year in stats-wise for sure because we're not going to have that stupid rotation with the right guard. And also, BA has much more routes that are good. He's got more hot routes. He's got shorter routes on every play. A lot of times Cutter did not have anything under 5-yard routes. That takes time to develop. So, Winston's going to be able to get the ball out quick if there's stuff coming at him. Whereas he didn't have that luxury a lot of times with Cutter's offense. It's just whether he's going to see it and be aware of it now. He didn't in the Cleveland Browns game. That kind of pissed me off. But anyhow, I'm not as down on our offensive line as everybody else.
Our depth is a little concerning.
I like... God, I'm going to get a lot of hate mail for this. I like Beninock. Cole Boozer, man, he's a work in progress big time.
But that's like our most important position on the offensive line.
Right.
Is the left tackle.
Beninock might be able to play there. I don't know. I mean, I know he's right tackle material, but...
I think they had him in at left tackle in camp.
They did a couple times, yeah.
They didn't even try that in the preseason, so I think that explains how it went.
Yeah, Noah Spence was really whooping up on Beninock in training camp. The new guy, Zach Bailey.
Yeah.
He's all right. Laribris is good. Brock Rubel, the very little play time he's got, but he's extremely new too. So, but yeah, I mean, I think we're gonna be all right. I think we're gonna be okay. We got Watford.
You like him?
Yeah, he's okay. I mean, he's average. Hey, he could fill in anywhere. He could play center, tackle, guard. That's really what makes him valuable is he's a
Swiss Army knife.
Yes. I don't know who we're going to keep though. I mean, we're only going to keep 7, 8 offensive linemen.
So probably Watford.
Don't know if Cole Boozer is going to make the cut. But gosh, we got to have somebody at left tackle behind Donovan Smith. I don't know.
Beninock.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think there would be outrage across the fan base if we keep Beninock.
He's not that bad. I mean, offensive linemen get beat. Even the best ones. Just how often you get beat and by whom.
All right, let's talk about this Dallas defensive line. They've got their starters, their locks to make the roster. DeMarcus Lawrence, who they just signed to a huge contract.
She could stay on the field this year.
Malik Collins is probably going to be the starter at defensive tackle based on how he played last year. And they've been using him a lot in the preseason this year. So all indications are he'll be the starter. Same thing with Antoine Woods on the other side of him. And defensive end Tristan Hill was their second round draft pick. They did not have a first round, so he was their first pick in the draft.
This year?
Yeah. Defensive end. So those are their starters. We won't be seeing them this week. We might see some of these guys. They're the ones probably making the roster. Kerry Hyder was their free agent acquisition, and he's been the top performer since he came to the team.
Do you know where he came from?
No. And then they have defensive end Dorrance Armstrong, who was their 2018 fourth-round pick. He's a pass rusher, and he's also been a standout this preseason. He is behind Robert Quinn, who I'm going to talk about in a second, who is suspended. So I don't know if he is going to take his place for those 2 weeks. It's not really been stated. But then we have defensive tackle Christian Covington, who is also a free agent. He hasn't performed quite as well as Armstrong, but he's got a lot of versatility, so they like him. Then we've got the guys on the bubble. Defensive tackle Tyrone Crawford has a $7 million cap hit. And his contract, this is the one I was talking about earlier, becomes fully guaranteed week 1. And if it weren't for that, he'd probably make the team, but they'll get some cap relief by letting him go. So he may be on the bubble depending on whether they want to keep him or not. That price tag is definitely not working in his favor. This guy's the one I was talking about earlier. I can't believe somebody named their kid this. Taco Charlton.
Taco. we should get him on the team just so we could have Taco and Nacho.
And then remember from the league, they named the baby Chalupa Batman?
Yeah.
Get it, Chalupa Batman. He was their Taco, that is. Oh, they had a Taco in the league, too.
Yes, Taco.
Taco Charlton with the Dallas Cowboys. He was their 2017 first-round pick. A lot of people thought he was going to get cut, but he's made a surprising showing during the preseason, so I don't know. He's on ourlads.com as one of the starting defensive ends, so I don't know. We will see. That might have been a holdover from last season. And then they've got Joe Jackson, defensive end. He's a 5th round pick this year. And he's got a lot of motor and some power. So he might make it. Might be some good depth. Then everybody else, these guys are probably gone. This is who we'll be seeing.
Right.
Daniel Ross, Daniel Wise, Ricky Walker, and Jalen Jelks. So we'll be seeing these guys.
We'll probably see some of the on the bubble guys too. Tyler Crawford, Taco Charlton, we might see him.
Yeah.
Joe Jackson.
Right.
Okay.
So
Man, they got a lot of defensive line players.
I know, and you
they're
know,
all good,
most of them are good. Yeah.
Huh.
Robert Quinn, defensive end. They traded with Miami to get him this year, and he hasn't played in the preseason because he had a hand fracture. But then he also got popped for a masking agent in his drug test by the league, and they suspended him for 2 games. Now, take this with a grain of salt because of HIPAA, the players can say whatever they want about these suspensions for PEDs or whatever, failed drug tests. They can say whatever they want, and the league can't go, no, that's a lie. That's not what happened. Here's what they tested positive for. You can't do that.
It's also in the CBA, too.
Yeah.
CBA says that the NFL can't refute a player's public claim for PEDs.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But that's what we saw with Josh Freeman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's kind of why that was a big deal.
Said his Adderall prescription.
And the same with Doug Martin. Didn't he do that
That's
too?
Right, he did it
was
too.
Adderall. But Robert Quinn's agent came out with a statement. And I remember reading this when it came out, that Robert Quinn has a history of seizures, which how you can have a history of seizures and play in the NFL, I don't really understand, but it's modern medicine and I'm not a doctor, so. But his agent said that his prescription medication to control his seizures was cross-contaminated at the pharmacy with a medication called probenecid, which is a medication for gout that was also used as a masking agent in the 80s and 90s for steroids. So that's why it's illegal in the NFL and why he got suspended.
Robert Quinn surprised the mess out of me. He was so good his first few years at the Rams. I mean, just lights out awesome. And then he's just disappeared.
I forgot that he was even with the Rams just now when you said that.
Yeah, he racked up sacks after sacks. He was unblockable there for a while.
Well, I think once they got Aaron Donald, it kind of overshadowed him.
But he just stopped playing well. I don't know if he'd gotten into off-the-field activities or is not focusing on football as much anymore, or people have just figured him out, or whatever. I don't know. But
maybe he got his feelings hurt by Aaron Donald coming in there and lighting it up.
He was at Miami last year, and I don't think he did anything for him because they still suck.
One more little tidbit that I forgot about with the Dallas Cowboys is Jason Witten is back.
Oh, wait, he's back with the Cowboys?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's out of retirement.
Well, that
back
sucks.
to the Cowboys.
He was a good tight end. He was one of their biggest weapons. I was happy when he retired.
Yeah, for years. Well, we don't have to play them during the regular season, right?
Nah. Might in the playoffs, though.
Right.
All right, so we got the game Thursday night. It's going to be at 8 p.m. Bucs at Cowboys. Believe it or not, I have not been able to find out if this is going to be on national TV on the NFL Network. So I'm assuming that it's not going to be broadcast nationally, which really surprised me. I thought NFL Network was going to pick it up, but it appears they're going to be showing the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Carolina Panthers game. Ugh.
Ugh.
Bleh.
I hope it's a repeat of the score from last year. What was that, like 50-17 or something?
Steelers beat the Panthers?
Yeah.
Sounds good to me. Cam Newton's got a hurt foot. Have we talked about that?
I don't remember.
He might not make it for first week.
Which we said he's not going to finish this season.
He might not even start.
I know, apparently.
That guy, what a joke. So the game is Thursday night. Bucs at Cowboys. We're going to Jerry Jones World and going to see ourselves on the big screen.
I wonder if Matt Gay can hit the big TV.
He should.
In the middle of the
he should have
stadium.
hit it and break it.
He should. Make Jerry cry.
I'd like to see that. And Friday, we'll have our next podcast out. We'll be covering the game. And then I'll have the YouTube video out, hopefully Saturday or Sunday, covering the game. And then we got a bunch of other videos we're going to do. We've got lined up for the start of the season. So, until next time.
Go Bucs.